Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Thank you for participating in the Black Holocaust Remembrance Day 2023. We appreciate you giving your time and hoping to get you to see the significance in celebrating our ancestors. So again, thank you for tuning in. If you're out there in the uh, World Wide Web, and for those of you who are actually in the audience, we welcome you to the Black Holocaust Remembrance Day. I am your host, Ishmael Al Islam from the city of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, the first capital of the United States. And in this particular city, it's probably one of the most atrocious things that's ever happened to so-called citizens in America. Uh, there was a group of Afrodescendants, which you call blacks, who were bombed in the Philadelphia area. They also were ammunition, weaponry was used against the brothers and sisters because they wanted to live a culture that they chose to live. They decided that they wanted to have independence of the so-called government of America and live accordingly to the traditions of our forefathers. They were bombed, women, children, and men, water hoses, military bomb. Now think about this. In a civilian neighborhood, a military bomb was dropped on civilians. And the government of Philadelphia allowed this to happen. Not only that, the women and children were incarcerated. Almost 40 years of time elapsed when the majority of the men, women, and children were incarcerated. Some of them just recently got out. And America, well, the government of Philadelphia allowed this to occur. You had to be there to feel the passion of what actually happened. Little Birdie grew up and eventually he succumbed to life because of the atrocities that he went through. Allegedly, they said he drowned. I've never seen anything like that before in my life. Buildings burning, women and children crying, water guns flooding the actual area where they were, bullets flying, rounds and rounds of ammunition. Just because they wanted the right to determine how they wanted to live. So we need to understand the importance of remembering our ancestors and what they wanted to do and what was they fighting for, what they did to sustain so that we could be here today. So we thank you for being here again. We want to get this program going on. Please, if you have phones, please silence your phones. Please silence your phones. This is an important taping going on so this can go out throughout the world that people may take view of this. So it's important that you silence your phones for us. Thank you. We want to do a roll call. And this roll call is to give thanks for those who are our forefathers and foremothers before we actually get the program started. We will have several speakers, and they will give you important information in regarding to the goals of the Afro-descendant nation and the goal of our people striving for independence. So be patient, relax. This is your event. It's for you. It's put on by you. So relax. Enjoy yourself. Roll call. Why roll call? Simply we want to remember those who have gone on, passed on before us. Toussaint Louverture, Denmark Vesey, Gabriel Prosser, Nat Turner, Sojourner Truth, Harriet Tubman, David Walker, Frederick Douglass, George Washington Carver, Booker T. Washington, Queen Mother Callie House, Ida B. Wells, Garrett Morgan, Noble Drew Ali, Marcus Mosiah Garvey, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, Sister Clara Muhammad, Emperor Haile Selassie, Paul Robeson, Malcolm X, Medgar Evers, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., John Lewis Muhammad Ali, Queen Mother Audrey Moore, Dorothy Lewis, Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad, Randall Robinson. And we would like to, even though he is not an ancestor, we would like to thank our brother minister, Louis Farrakhan, for his many years of service, and also others whose names were called. Now, that is our general roll call. It is for you to do a personal roll call of your ancestors. We will take a few moments and allow the audience that's here to call out names that's important to them from their family. And those of you who are watching on YouTube and social media, you take a few moments to honor those whom you miss and love and respect in your family. Let us do so now. Yes. Yes. Call out your personal loved ones. Yes. Yes.
Amy Barnes, Patricia Barnes.
Yes.
William Fisher.
Arlene Thomas.
Ellie Johnson.
Mary Elizabeth Barnes.
Yes. Anna Paul.
Pretty Cherry.
Kenny
Yes.
Cooper.
Yes.
Giovanni Little.
We want those names who you call out to feel that you are still connected, that you are them now here in this time, in this place, honoring them. So we thank you, all of you who have shouted out remembrance for your family members and loved ones. Thank you for that moment. I want to now continue with the program. We have today a young man who represents the new Black Panther Party. He is here as a brother who wants to give his input on this day. Please allow me to bring up to you Brother Elijah Devon. Thank you, brother.
Thank you, brother. Peace.
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 Peace and Black Power family.
Peace.
First and foremost, I want to give thanks to the Most High, who I believe is Elohim, Yahweh, and to whom you call Allah. We are all one today. I want to give thanks to my national chairman, Malik Zulu Shabazz, for giving me this opportunity, as well as the Honorable Khalid Muhammad for representing as an ancestor, as well as many that came before me, former chairman Hashim Nzinga. I am not myself if I am not those that came before me. My name is Elijah Devine. I'm the DMV chairman as well as the National Youth Minister. I believe that we are all divine by design, and I believe we all have a purpose here on the earth that we are currently residing on. My purpose today is to speak amongst our people regarding reparations as well as the right to be human. But when we talk about being human, we must focus on what it is to be the being, because we are spiritual beings having a human experience. I want us to talk about the youth and acknowledging that the youth is in a juxtaposed position, meaning they're in a weird space where AI, artificial intelligence, as well as the internet age has somewhat warped their position in the world that we're in. Many of us that are in the room have come before a time where social media existed, or come before a time where the internet has ran rampant. So we all understand a world before technology as we see it today. We understand a world before you didn't go outside to play or enjoy the company of someone in a room for hours on hours, before the attention span was dwindled down to a mere 3 to 5 seconds. The reason why I'm speaking on this matter, and the reason why I believe we need to lead with this before I even go into my purpose of speaking today, is because our youth are in a position where they're always thinking about the next thing. And if you are unable to present them with a next thing that looks remotely beautiful to what they're already looking at, you're already losing. If you do not pay attention to the trends of TikTok, the trends of Twitter, the trends of Instagram, or whatever social media experiment comes out in the next couple of years, then you are already doomed to fail the youth, because their attention is already warped to those things that are in their peripheral or in their frontal vortex. Now, I'm 26 years old. I'm not that young and I'm not that old. I'm in a very beautiful position where I can still be considered the youth. I understand as a teacher, when I used to teach around the corner at Garfield Elementary School, that the youth is always eager to have their energy moved in different positions, in different ways. We always speak about leaders here. We always speak about leaders of the past, but we never speak about the leaders of the future and what they may look like. The reason why I'm here today is because someone took a chance on me, looked at who I was, and said I was good enough for them to even start teaching me and where I was. I want us to start focusing on separating that elitist mindset some of the people in our conscious community hold. Sometimes we believe we're too good to go to where the youth are. And we believe we're too high above the conscious of speaking to them to where they are and meeting them and where they are. I say this because our generation is lost. Now, they're not lost in terms of having identity, in terms of wanting to represent something. They're eager to represent something. They're ambitious to be able to want to be seen as something. All of our youth always want to dance and show off on TikTok. Well, that's because they want to feel like they're something. We have to stop looking at them in a position where we say, oh, well, the youth don't care about anything. They just want to be violent. They just want to act out. Well, guess what? In the DMV alone, there's a lot of programs that no longer exist. A lot of after-school programs that we no longer have in the school systems where they're teaching them about the new technologies that are coming out, or the new activities to keep them off of the streets or keep them out of their phones or have them in team-building exercises. Well, what are we willing to do about it? How are we willing to teach them? How are we willing to guide them? How are we willing to incorporate the new things instead of being fearful of the new things that exist in our world? These things are not going away. These things are not going away. As much as I love my elders and as much as I love my predecessors, sometimes our conversations run dry when I start talking about the new age that we live in. It's unfortunate to think about it, but the American dollar is dying. The American power is dying. TikTok is a program that was created by the Chinese. Our youth are looking at this program and giving this program all of their information. Do you think they're going to stop? Realistically, they're not. So until we create our own programs, until we create our own forms of media, until we create those things that can rival the things that have our attention of our youth, you must learn the ways of the machines that have the minds of the youth now. We must take up the mantle of getting on these platforms and mastering the art of entertainment, mastering the art of infusing education and entertainment together. Present ourselves in a way that they won't look at it as, oh, y'all just old. Oh, y'all just don't know what we feeling. We must make ourselves look familiar to the youth. I dressed up in a suit today because this is a formal occasion, but best believe I will look like my youth when I'm leaving the building. Because they want to look at you and see themselves. We have all the knowledge in the world. We know our ancestors created everything under the sun. We know this for a fact. We know that we're having a Remembrance Day so our people will never forget. But I come to you today to say, what about those that are needing of guidance today? Like black schools. Dr. Umar Johnson going about to make a school, supporting other people that are also looking to do the same thing. Are we teaching our kids back at home? Are we guiding them in the ways of our ancestors and then taking it a step further to say, what would it look like before we become an ancestor? Are we creating and clothing them in the garments that look like the things that we designed? It's time for us to be more innovative and more willing to take a chance. Some of us are already doing it. I shout out brothers like Brother Ben X, Brother 19 Keys, Derek Grace, Brother Rizza Islam. These are people that I see in the conscious community every day that are putting in the work. Some may say I'm putting in the work as well. But as we continue to move in this trajectory and continue to move in the ways of our ancestors and move in the acts of guidance, I ask us to humble ourselves. I ask us to remove the egos that cause us to believe that we have done enough. I ask us to always be curious on what can we do more. If we know artificial intelligence is going further and further into the world that we're existing in, and we know in the next 5 years, there will be less and less jobs for our youth to even go into, such as working at a restaurant, working in customer service, working in retail. In the next 5 years, these things are going to be gone. Machines will be controlling those spaces. I hope you know that. So why don't we teach our youth to learn to create the machines? Teach our youth to learn to maintain the machines at least. How many of you know that black people are creating artificial intelligence? Or some of the engineers behind that? How many of you are willing to fund that next project? These are the things that we need to start working on now. Instead of looking with our hands up in the air or asking, well, what are we going to do? I want to live on a farm. We do need our brothers and sisters to work on in agriculture. We do need our brothers and sisters to work on having our own nation separate from the world in which we exist in. But there will come a day where we have our own nation and our own world, where we have our own farmland. We have our acres and acres of land where people are taking care of themselves and separate from social media, right? And separate from technology. But then there will also be those of your community that will have to work in those spaces and be in communication with those that are not interested in being in that space. It has to be a balanced world. As my brother Gary knows, we work on farmlands. We work in agriculture. We have black-owned farmers right up the street in Brandywine, Maryland. We have firearm instructors. We have those teaching self-defense with the new Black Panther Party. We have those teaching disaster preparedness, disaster readiness. And we also have those that are going across the world right now working on our next move. 2 weeks ago, I was just at an event called the Sankofa International Conference. That conference is currently working on sending brothers and sisters over to Angola and building relationships with our brothers in Africa and our sisters in Africa and our family in Africa to then start having international relationships in love, agriculture, and economics. The reason why I bring that up is because we're putting in work right now to see the future that we want to see.
Right.
A part of putting in that work means you have to then get your hands dirty. We all have a role, and I implore you to try to look a little bit further into the roles that you want to play, the roles that you want to see fit. Continue to study and learn something new. If we know the new world that's going to exist in front of us in the next 5 years is going to be heavily determined by the next advancement in technology, don't shy away from technology. Because then we will have our elders that rely on the land, live on the land, and work in the land, and exist in the land to teach us how to do that. And then we'll have the youth to teach us to do the next step after that. All right? I appreciate you all for your time. I appreciate the Most High for giving me the guidance speech. Again, my name is Elijah Divine. I'm the DMV chairman, as well as the National Youth Minister for the new Black Panther Party. And again, I believe we are all divine by design. God bless, Godspeed. Thank you.
Excellent. Excellent, excellent, excellent. That is the voice of our youth. We give thanks for Malik, who is the chairman of the New Black Party, for sending him to represent the mindset and the ideas of our people. We have a whole spectrum of thoughts and views that need to be put out before the public. So again, let's give Brother Divine another hand. I want to bring up our brothers, the drummers, because they are speaking a language we spoke before we even came here. That language is the way that we warned our people,
Yes, sir.
that the slave master was coming, encroaching on our villages. They used this language because this language the slave master did not understand. It is the language of the drum. So I present to you our brothers, the drummers. The language of our ancestors. The language of our ancestors. Thank you, brothers. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yes.
Tribute to the ancestors. Next, we want to bring up a very, very special sister of mine from this city, another powerful youth of mine that's dedicated to the remembrance of our people and the goal of repairing the damage to our human rights. I want to bring up a young sister that's strong and give her a few moments. Let's welcome her, Salia Muhammad, please.
Greetings, good afternoon, and welcome to Black Holocaust Remembrance Day. How are you feeling today?
Pretty good.
How y'all feeling today?
Good.
Today is Black Holocaust Remembrance Day 2023.
Yes, ma'am.
I am standing on the shoulders. Let me stop. I'm getting excited.
Go ahead, Black Mama.
My name is Salih Muhammad from Washington, D.C., and I am a member of AGN Global, Afrodescendant Youth Network Global. We founded our organization in 2014 when I saw Mike Brown laying in the street like an animal with no cover on it when I was walking into my apartment building, and I was appalled. I had read and seen many books, but to see it in my own lifetime, it made me nauseous.
Yes, ma'am.
It made me sick.
Yes, ma'am.
So I'm going to take my 5 minutes to talk about why a Black Holocaust Remembrance Day.
Yes, come on, come on, come on.
This place should be filled like roaches, people trying to get in here.
Yes, ma'am.
Why a Black Holocaust Remembrance Day? Why you must not forget.
Yes, ma'am, that's right.
Chairman Elijah Devine said something that was really deep to me. They think the youth don't care.
That's right.
We haven't given them something to care about.
Come on now.
What is it that Chairman Huey P. Newton felt, Chairman Devine, that made him want to stand up?
Talk about it.
What made Malcolm want to stand up?
Yes, ma'am.
What made the Honorable Marcus Mosiah Garvey want to stand up?
Yes, ma'am.
What made the Honorable Noble Drew Ali want to stand up?
Come on,
What made the Honorable Elijah Muhammad want to stand up? Asaka Shakur, Angela Davis,
Yeah. Come on. Yes, ma'am.
Fannie Lou Hamer,
Yes, ma'am.
going into the trenches
Come on now.
because they understood a Holocaust had happened.
Real
The
talk.
fact that this is not filled up is a testament to that.
Talk about it. Yes, ma'am.
Every day I watch commercials now because Kanye had an opinion
Come on now. That's right.
that was dressed up in some truth. If you know the knowledge, I ain't gonna get up all into that. But now we getting stop Jewish hate, stop Asian hate,
Come on now. Come on with it.
stop this and that hate. Black man and woman and child, where's our commercial at?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Come on now.
We the remnants of the hate.
That's right. Come on. Yeah.
2023, we still can't even walk down the street in peace. Dr. King would be ashamed.
Real talk. Real talk.
Our premier leader, our black jewel, got shot on a balcony just for you to still be called nigger in 2023.
Come on now.
The Honorable Elijah Muhammad built a nation. Gone. Huey P. Newton built, I call y'all the Black Marines. Wiped out. I watched Judas and the Black Messiah crying. Own brother sent his own brother to kill him. And you know why? Because we don't control our own destiny.
That's right.
We have to dare to go into the beyond.
Talk about it.
And we got to make a demand.
Real talk. Yes, ma'am.
When COVID came out and the Asians was getting attacked, even though they attack you in the hood every day at your Chinese spot in the beauty supply store, they made a demand, and what happened? Legislation was gone. Out of here. Biden ain't asked no questions. He ain't asked nobody else. He ain't put no rat on there. The legislation was gone, signed and delivered. I'm yours, and it was gone. Black men, where's our stuff at? It ain't nothing wrong with the youth. It ain't nothing wrong with black people. We just ain't been given the right call or charge yet. But today, I dare say you're going to walk away with something that motivates you.
Yes, ma'am.
Why a Black Holocaust Remembrance Day? Because we owe it to our ancestors to never forget.
That's correct. That's correct.
Not even that far from here, 20 minutes, President George Washington's plantation, sitting there, and I visited. And I went to the slave quarters, and it was a white man and his young son inside of the slave quarters, And the little boy asked him, Daddy, what is this? He said, oh son, this is where the workers live. This is why we need to have a Black Holocaust Remembrance Day, because if we leave it to the enemy, they'll be telling another story.
Come on, that's real talk. Yes, ma'am.
We owe it to our ancestors for what they did, for all the burnings, the lynchings, the Middle Passage, the destruction of all of the Black Power movement, and for us to build something for ourselves. We can no longer depend on anybody else, Black man, woman, or child. Because they're not going to help you. I remember, and I'm going to close with this, why we need a Black Holocaust Remembrance Day. I remember I was in middle school and my teacher was a Jewish history teacher. And this was around the time when President Obama was running and the whole controversy with Reverend Jeremiah Wright. And she's going on and on about, what she said. And I said, Miss Singer, if you were sitting in your synagogue and your rabbi said, goddamn Hitler, for what they did to the Jewish people, would you have said anything?
Talk about that.
And she looked at me and everybody in the class, we immature, this 9th grade, right? Ooh! But it was a clarifying question that needed an answer. She couldn't give me one. She ain't like me. I passed the class. But she had to know, like, okay, you just can't teach people anything. This is why we need a Black Holocaust Remembrance Day, to never forget and to teach the truth. Thank you so much for hearing me out, and thank you for coming out.
Well, Brother Elijah, there you go. There's the youth you was talking about, right?
Black power.
That's Black Power, eh? That's talking about Black Power. So you ain't by yourself. The journey that you on, you got help.
Black power.
All right? I like to thank Sister Slid. That sister, I mean, it's a little fiery and it's hot. I don't know. We have the program we want to continue with. I hope all of you are comfortable. I hope you're enjoying it wherever you are watching it.
Yes, sir.
Invite someone in your home. Listen, you need to sit down with me and watch this. Because there seems like something important is about to happen. And we're going to get some data and information that we really, really need to hear. Black Holocaust Remembrance Day. I want to bring up an actor, a sister from my city, someone's devoted to the remembrance of our ancestors. Sure. And she's going to perform a narrative for you, a slave narrative. Many of you might not like it. Some of you tend to forget about it because you don't want to remember. You know how it was when Kunta Kinte was getting whooped, yes, right?
Yes, sir.
You know you really didn't want to see that part.
Right, yes, sir.
Well, she's going to present a narrative for you, a slave narrative, the life of a slave by Mecca Shabazz. Are we ready?
I, Charlotte Norcom. I born here on the Norcom plantation. People remember the old master and missus as good and decent white folks, because they went to church and had a big, well-dressed family and kept all of us slaves clean and fed. The master's brother come up and visit with his nephew for his birthday. His nephew just turned 13. I 15. The the master and his brother decided what they gonna get a nephew for his birthday. Not to have, just to use. I'm gonna spare y'all the rest. That master and the doctor daddy was always after me too. And they had me too, because I was there. And that's what they could do. The missus, she didn't like it. She always studied looking at me like I was her worstest enemy. After my third baby come out looking more like the master than the master himself. The night after I give birth, she comes to my cabin and takes the baby. I don't know if she killed the baby or sold it. She probably killed it. Because after that, none of the house niggas could look me in the eyes after that. But they keep me on. And then one day, she started beating me with an iron kettle rod. She almost took me to my death that day. I lost my left eye that day. But the rod broke. And she stopped long enough to hear me say, God sure crowned for you today, I say. I sure wouldn't treat a dog as you treat me. And she stopped and commenced to falling on the floor crying. And I comfort her. Later on, I get another whooping in. Because some of the blood from my eye had dripped on her silk skirt. But they long dead now.
Slave Narrative by Mecca Shabazz. One more time. Did you feel the pain?
Yes, sir.
Could you feel it?
Yes, sir. Oh, me.
I'm telling you, just imagine that type of pain. And then to comfort the slave master. Next we have one of the most dynamic young brothers that I have ever met and had the pleasure to meet in the Afro-Descendant Nation. He is promoting and guiding our people in the city of New York toward the unification of the Afro-Descendant Nation. He will come up and make you familiar with who we are when we say the Afro-Descendant Nation and the importance of it for you to join in. Let me please bring my brother up, Dewan Mayun.
I would like to thank everyone for being here today. My name is Dewan Mayun, and I am a member of the Afro-Descendant Nation. And I love being a member of the Afro-Descendant Nation. I'm proud to be a member of the Afro-Descendant Nation. A nation that doesn't have anything to do with religion at all. I stand here today in remembrance of our ancestors. I am alive today because of what our ancestors went through.
Come on.
Right.
Don't I owe them the honor?
Yes, sir. Come on.
Don't I owe them the respect?
Yes, sir.
Can I put away the sports game? Can I stop looking at TV and watching all this foolishness on TV to honor people who have went through a hellish existence? And because of that hellish existence, I'm here today.
Yes, sir.
You are here today.
Right.
So this is why we need to honor Black Holocaust Remembrance Day.
Come on.
I would not live my life in existence and not acknowledge and remember the atrocities of our ancestors and what they have went through. And we need to teach our children. We need to have conversations with all of our people about this. Whether they want to hear it or not, you have to start talking to them.
Right.
That's right.
Somewhere along the way, and the great sacrifice that was made on your and my behalf by our ancestors, somewhere along the way, we got lost. We forgot the purpose of why we're here.
That's right.
We have been shackled, our minds have been shackled by the U.S. government with the chains of deceit to trick us into thinking that our struggle is an individual struggle and not a collective struggle. When we fell for that trap, we became individuals and we became careless. You get yours and I get mine. Because we no longer saw our struggle as a people collectively. But I submit to you, my beloved, the struggle is not over. Because we who are in the Afro-descendant nations whose minds have been awakened to the very hour that we're living in, we're here to unshackle the chain of deceit from around your mind so you can see the day and the time that we're living in. And this is the day and the time for black men and women all over the planet Earth to rise up. This is the day and time particularly for the black man in America to rise. Now, if you notice, I didn't say woman, because the woman is already with us. You just heard what sister have dramatized right here. Our woman is with us, but the man, you man, has been destroyed. And we're looking for all of those alpha dogs, as they call them, those alpha males, those Huey P. Newtons. Where are you today? Have the white man killed them off? Did he discourage you from standing up fighting for justice for your people?
No, sir.
Where are you, alpha dogs? You'll kill me, your brother, if I take something from you.
That's right.
You ready to strap up and get your passion together if I come and I do this to your family?
Talk about it.
But why don't you strap up and go after the U.S. government for doing what? For taking from you what makes you a human being.
Talk about it.
Why don't you strap up and go after him? You know why you won't strap up and go after him? Because he has embedded it in our mind.
Come on.
That he is the power and black is nothing. Hate yourself.
That's right.
Fear me, your boss, your white man. The white man, fear me. But he took your mind, our minds. He took our language. He took our religion. He took our way of life. He took our whole culture from us. And in doing so, do you realize the damage that was done? The damage that was done, and I kid you not, has made us laughing stocks of the world. It has made us freaks of humanity. And what makes us freaks of humanity is the very fact that we're not in possession of our human rights.
That's right. Come on.
You have no rights as a human. This is what Mr. Silas Muhammad has went back and forth to the UN and realized that we don't have human rights, brothers and sisters. We belong We belong to the U.S. government.
Speak on it.
We're the U.S. government's property.
Speak on it.
Surely you know when two armies clash, that the property of the losing army becomes the property of the victorious army.
Speak on it.
So the North won the war. So whatever property the South had became the property of the North. And what kind of property did the South have?
Come on.
Slaves.
That's right.
Slaves.
Right.
Human slaves. Black slaves. So you think Mr. Abraham Lincoln freed you?
Speak on it.
Freed us? No. We just became the property of the North.
That's right. Come on.
And becoming the property of the North, President Lincoln made the statement, what shall I do? What should we do with all this human property? You hear that? Let me reiterate that. What should we do with all this human property? Here are men making a decision about you. You ain't got nothing to do with it. You have no say-so. But a decision was made. What should we do with it? Here's the answer. Now, old age. Let us keep them here among us. Let us keep them here among us as our underling. You're doomed
Yes, sir.
to being a slave forever because you are America's property, and this is why we will never get reparations under the name African American.
Speak on it.
You will never get it under the name Negro. We will never get it under the name colored people because these are not identities.
Right.
Our identity, our true identity was taken from us. We were robbed of. We are a shell of ourselves. The only people on earth that can't speak our own language. I'm mad as hell. And if you ain't mad, something is wrong with you. How mad are you? Are you mad enough to do something about it? I am. I'm fighting mad. Come on, alpha dogs, alpha males. Where are you, black man? You hiding somewhere? Stand up for your woman. Stand up for your children. Because if you do stand up, they're doomed to underling for the rest of their life. And an underling is nothing but a slave, a modern day slave for white America. That's America's property. Until you become an Afro-descendant.
Come on.
See, when you become an Afro-descendant and you refuse to accept African American as an identity, and you take on the identity of Afro-descendant, you're free.
Yes, sir.
Are you aware?
Yes, sir.
Are you aware that an avenue has been opened up for us?
Right.
I mean, an avenue that will literally free us from the iron clutches of our enemies. What is that avenue, you may ask? See, when Mr. Silas Muhammad was going back and forth to the UN, he realized that we was not human. They didn't even recognize us. They thought we were Americans.
Come on now. Speak
They
on it.
thought we were Americans. But we're neither Americans nor Africans.
Speak on it.
Yes, we love Africa. We know about Africa. We know we're from there. But we are not Africans. Our experience
Come on.
disconnected us from our African brothers and sisters. We are a new people, accepted, mixed with white blood and black blood. Accept the fact that we are new. And because we are new, we need a new identity. Not chosen by the white man, but an identity chosen by black men and black women. Mr. Silas Muhammad has done so with 19 other leaders throughout the diaspora, Central America, South America, the Caribbean, and North America. These leaders met and decided on a name by which we can call ourselves. And that name is Afrodescendant. Now, let me tell you what that actually means. Stay with me for a moment. What that actually means is this. To accept a new identity, that gives us international protection, and can't no one do anything to us for accepting our new identity. What that has done is open up a whole new avenue for us to just take our freedom from the white man. Meaning this, I'm an Afro-descendant, you declare yourself such. The white man has no more power over you when you tell him you're Afro-descendant, but that gives us leverage, the Afro-descendant nation, who has already formed right here in America. We have a president that is the president of a real black nation called Afro-descendant nation. We have a Congress where there are black men and women in this Congress legislating laws, just and fair laws to govern our people, not unjust laws. We can do it, brothers and sisters. We're not afraid of the white man anymore. Not when you become an Afro-descendant, because he had no real power over you. But if you remain an African-American, you're powerless. You belong to him. And that's why he'll tell you whatever he's going to give you for reparations. I'm going to give you $500. Hey, nigga, that's all you're getting from me. Why would he give his property? Why would he give his property or make his property equal to him? We are property of America. As long as we are African Americans, and that's what Mr. Cyrus Muhammad wants you to understand. Hence, we're asking all of our people to discontinue identifying yourself as African American. Drop that immediately. That's not an identity. Now look, when they called us Negro, did we accept that?
Come on now.
We did. We walked around, oh, I'm a Negro. It was on the birth certificate.
Speak on it. Yep.
Well, who told you that wasn't identity? But you accepted it, didn't you? Because the white man told you that this is your name when he brought you out of the system of ethnocide.
Talk about
The
it.
system of ethnocide is the complete destruction of everything that's about you and who you were before you came into slavery. Your language, your culture, your way of life, all of that was destroyed. And because you are the shell of yourself, he just attacked. We'll call them Negroes.
Teach.
Nobody opposed him. You didn't oppose him. Our leaders didn't oppose him.
Teach.
Now watch this. Take the insult even further. Okay, let's start calling them colored people.
Come on now.
Then we became colored people. Did any of our leaders object to that identity? No, we accepted that, didn't we? Then we started accepting Afro-American, blacks, African-Americans. And we're telling you today that no more. You are not an African-American. You are Afro-descendant.
That's right.
So rise up, Afro-descendant. Rise up. Because what I see for us, I see heaven. And the beyond what? Beyond America. See, beyond America, I see heaven for us. Plenty money, good home, and friendships in all walks of life. Come on home, brothers. Come on home, sisters. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Rise up. I'm ready. I want to thank you for that little time, but I love my ancestors, and I will not ever
That's right.
turn my back on them.
Wow.
Thank you.
Yes,
I
sir.
said-
Yes, sir.
Very good. Yes, sir.
Well, how do you feel? How do you feel inside?
Yeah.
Pretty good, sir.
See, we need to get
Yes, sir.
the message to all of our people. Like he said, like Sister said, this room should have been busted with our people. Remembrance of Black Holocaust. Don't you know if this was done in New York in the Jewish sector, they wouldn't have had enough space.
Speak on it.
They wouldn't have had enough space
Yes, sir.
for the people because they would have been in there, they would have bust the seams out.
Yes, sir. Speak on it, brother.
But we have just a small, dedicated few here. But we got to do some work. Brother was telling you. He dedicated his life. Young brother, Elijah, young sister, Celia.
Yes.
You and I, we are dedicated, but we got to do more.
Speak.
We got to do more for the Afro-descendant nation.
Yes, sir.
Come on in.
Yes, sir.
He told you. We don't have to be divisive about religion, organization. We got a place for you.
That's right.
We have a place for you. You have a government.
Yes, we do.
You have it. We already prepared it for you to come in.
Yes, that's right. Yes, sir.
You may not have done the work, but we were doing the work.
Yes, sir. That's right.
It's time. We should not have another Remembrance Day that look like this. All the dedication that the believers and people here did to make this day for you, this shouldn't have happened. Make this the last time we come here for a Remembrance Day anywhere in America.
Yes, sir.
And it looks like this. I did want to say something, but I want to give you just one little thing before we carry on. I'd like to read a moment for you that came from the mind of Elijah Muhammad. Many of our people look at Elijah Muhammad as a black separatist or a religious person. But I want you to hear something that he said, and you can find it in his writings. He said to us in his books, first and foremost, the so-called Negro needs human rights, which will warrant his recognition. Can you hear this?
Yes, sir.
As a human being by his slave masters. Can you hear that?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I mean, can you hear what he's talking about?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You're looking for something, and you have to do something in order to gain it by the slave master to get what? Recognition. But what are you looking for? Human rights. Human rights. He didn't say civil rights.
Come on now.
Now, our parents, they went before us and they fought for what they best understood, and that was civil rights. But the goal is human rights.
Yes, sir.
Let me read it to you one more time, and I'm going to move out your way. First and foremost,
Yes, sir.
look up these words for yourself.
Speak on it.
The so-called Negro, that's what we're being called, is 65, needs human rights, which will warrant, look up that word for yourself, his recognition, what? As a human being by his slave master. Now, you got to do some work here.
Yes, sir.
You have to do some work. Then you have to find the avenue in which to do the work in. You understand what we're saying here?
Yes, sir.
That's the key. It is true. Here's one more thing that Elijah Muhammad said. It is true that the history of our treatment by the slave master practically made our parents, this is a shame, and ourselves less than human beings. Less than human beings. Brother just told you that what the North was fighting for the South for victory over compensation of what they had. And the compensation was us, our forefathers and foremothers.
That's right.
That's what they gained compensation over. The message of Muhammad said, it is true that the history of our treatment by the slave master practically made our parents and ourselves less than human beings. This is why I teach that the main rights we should seek first are human rights. That's two statements that you can look up for yourself in this writing. And the last statement I want to give you is by Mr. Silas Muhammad. And he says, I want to bring you to the understanding that human rights is a political concept. Can you hear that?
Yes, sir.
So what Elijah Muhammad was talking about in 65, what he was talking about was a political concept that you did not have. Human rights is a political concept. You understand that?
Yes, sir.
That's what we want you to hear. In order to gain the recognition warranted, you must fight politically
Yes, sir.
for that right.
Yes, sir.
You hear it?
Yes, sir.
Can you hear it now?
Yes, sir.
You must fight politically for that right.
Yes, sir.
He's not going to give it to you with civil rights.
That's right. That's real talk.
So we wanted to give you that moment. I want to have a song played. You want to? Okay. Well, we have with us our esteemed Madam President, who is fighting for you every single day. Even when you're not fighting for yourself, she's out there promoting and fighting for human rights and a collective identity within the structure of the Afro-descendant nation. You probably don't even know it, but she's fighting for it.
Yes, sir.
She's putting her life day after day, hour after hour on the line for you and me. And we want to acknowledge her. We want to say thank you and let her express her desire to you for the Afro-descendant nation and all the work she does on your behalf. Madam President, please, will you bless us?
Assalamu alaikum, everyone.
Walaikum salam, Madam President.
It's indeed a great honor to be here today. I am happy that the Chief Minister continues to promote this event,
Yes, ma'am.
Black Holocaust Remembrance Day. He has been consistent with his staff and all of the other supports that are here with him with this event. So I really want to honor that today. If you all could please stand and give him a round of applause and all of his staff. I would also like to thank everyone that's here in person with us today, and also those in the viewing audience for being here and supporting this memorous event. So, the Jewish people, they consistently promote
That's right.
their Holocaust.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, they do.
Consistently promote their Holocaust, as should we.
Yes, ma'am.
And so thank you again for doing this, and we should promote it often,
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
often going forward. As Afro-descendants, we are descendants of those who spent years in chattel slavery, sold as a piece of furniture or livestock.
That's right.
Chattel slavery. And now, we are still, some of us, we don't really understand why we should remember our ancestors. We should remember what they suffered
Yes,
and
ma'am.
endured.
Yes, ma'am.
It's not okay for you to say that that didn't happen to you. It is your bloodline.
That's right.
Speak on it, speak on it.
How do you dismiss that?
Good point.
So we are giving honor to that. We're giving honor to our ancestors that came before us.
Yes, ma'am.
And what they prayed for, we are continuing to build.
Yes, that's right. That's right.
I attended the State of the Black World Conference this week, Thursday, well, Friday and Saturday. Dr. Tahita attended also, and I'm told Representative Maia was there on Wednesday evening. What I noticed is that we all want the same thing.
That's right.
We are going about it in different ways, and some of us don't quite understand self-determination all the way.
Mm-hmm.
So it's up to us, those of us who truly understand it, it's our duty to teach the others
Yes, ma'am. That's correct.
so that they will understand it. And then they will have an opportunity to decide if they're with us or not, moving forward. But as we move forward, we need a collective effort. This talk about reparations is, it's spreading like wildfire right now. But we were spreading it years ago.
Yes, ma'am. That's right. That's right. Bear with me.
Years ago.
That's right.
But now it has caught on like wildfire. We have various organizations and individuals with their own, doing their own work, but we have nothing. We're disjointed and we're not connected
That's right.
collectively. So in October of this year, October 7th and 8th, we are planning a National Reparations Convention, October 7th and 8th.
Yes, ma'am.
The participants of our 2022 October Summit have been consistently meeting with my cabinet, the Afrodescendant nation branch leaders of the government, and we have collectively decided that we will concentrate on the National Reparations Convention for October 7th and 8th. Initially, we had thought that we would host 2 summits this year, self-determination summits. And so instead of that, in lieu of that, we're going to hold the National Reparations Convention, October 7th and 8th. We are expecting it to be held at Clark Atlanta University. So we are just waiting for that person to get back to us and take our money for the down payment. We are serious.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. That's real.
So prior to that meeting, I'm planning to have a meeting in May to pull together organizations and individuals that have the same mindset and want the same thing.
Yes, ma'am.
But working on reparations, there's so many that are doing good work. for us to come together and hopefully co-convene this event.
Yes, ma'am.
Us getting on the same page, and when we speak to our people, we're speaking in a collective voice.
Speak on it. Yes, ma'am.
Whatever it is that they're doing, whatever it is that we're doing, we still have that one voice for reparations.
Yes, ma'am.
It's a collective, comprehensive, unified plan. Also, during that time, we would like to recognize and honor individuals and organizations who have been doing this work. I only think that that is fitting and proper.
Yes, ma'am.
Because there are plenty of us that have been in this fight a very long time.
Yes, ma'am.
I have said in February during the State of the Nation address, our movement of the Afro-Descendant nation parallels the movement of the Jewish people, that Zionist movement.
That's right.
They wanted a nation. They wanted to be free. Some of them did not want to assimilate. That's the same with us.
Yes, ma'am. It is.
There's some dissension amongst us. But look at Israel now.
Speak on it, ma'am.
Where are they now on the world scene?
That's right.
Are we deserving of that? Absolutely.
Always, yes, ma'am.
We are definitely deserving of that and more. So, we are working towards that. We want you to want a nation.
That's right.
We want you to want nationhood.
That's right. Yes, ma'am.
We want you to want a state, a country. And we want you to want that country to have a seat
That's right.
in the United Nations.
That's right. That's right. That's right. Yes, ma'am.
There is no one else speaking on behalf of Afro-descendants.
Come on now. That's right. That's right.
We want to be able to speak on behalf of ourselves.
That's right.
We want to control our own destiny.
Yes, we do, ma'am. That's right.
We do not want our children and our children's children and those coming after us, generations and generations to come, to suffer like we have suffered here
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
in America and the slavery diaspora,
Come on,
which
now.
includes our global brothers and sisters
Speak on it.
internationally.
That's right.
There were several at the State of the World Black Conference this week, and they are talking the same thing, and they want to be connected with us here in America. And there were some of them that were really vocal about it, because at first, yesterday in the first working session, they were talking about U.S. reparations. And one of the sisters came in and she said, well, you're talking about U.S., but this is bigger than the U.S. This includes us as well. And I couldn't wait till I got a chance to speak. I said, I got something for that. I recommended yesterday, because they were taking recommendations, that we should use our collective identity of Afro-descendants.
Yes, ma'am.
And I hope they read that recommendation today, because they were supposed to do those recommendations today. But I had a cabinet meeting this morning, I wasn't able to go to the last session. And we need to Once we collectively self-identify as Afro-descendants, that is going to unify us just like it unified all of the Native Americans
Yes, ma'am.
and Indian tribes.
That's right. Yes, ma'am.
Like indigenous people did.
Yes, ma'am. That's right.
And they have a seat
That's right. Yes, ma'am.
in the United Nations. So they have a voice. I'm actually tired of us not having a voice.
Yes, ma'am.
That's right.
I'm actually tired of people continually deciding everything for us.
That's right. Yes,
That's
ma'am.
right.
Please self-identify as Afro-descendant.
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am. That's right.
Go to afrodescendant.org if you would like to become a member of the Afro-Descendant Nation. And that will be your, as they say, Wakanda forever,
Yes.
Afro-Descendant Nation forever.
That's right. That's right.
Again, we want to thank our Madam President for her hard work
Yes, sir.
and her deliberation of the message for the Afro-descendant nation. Thank you once again. We come to the point in which we have a song selection and then the keynote speaker, which is Najee Muhammad. So let us prepare ourselves for the song and then the keynote presentation.
No more sleeping in bed. No more back thinking time, but thinking ahead. The world has changed so very much from what it used to be. There is so much hatred, war and poverty. Better leave beyond everybody. Yeah. It's the God hour, the morning I wake up, just wanna prep the life, I thank my maker. My mom say I come from hustlers and shakers, my mind building on skyscrapers and acres. He said take us back to where we belong. I try to write a song as sweet as a song. No one like to bear arms and wear my heart on my sleeve. Even when I felt it, God I believe. Feed the days and read through the maze and the season's so amazing. Feed them and raise them, diseases and aging, earthquakes, wars and rumors. I wanna see the Bible, we more than consumers. More than shooters, more than looters, created in the image so God lived through us. Even in this generation, looking through computers, only love can't be root us. Come on. Wake up, everybody, no more sleeping bag. Oh, wake up, everybody. Come on, clap your hands now. I'm saying, come on. Can't do it alone. Oh, give it up. Can't do it alone. I shall let you on. Wake up.
We want to bring to you Najee Muhammad with the keynote address. We charge America with the destruction of identity.
Yes, sir.
Najee Muhammad.
Greetings to you.
Greetings, sir.
How do you feel?
Feel pretty good, sir.
Good, sir.
Fired up.
Fired up?
Yes, sir.
Great. the greatness of a nation does not depend on its size or the number of the population or the strength of its army or navy. It rests on its ability to maintain justice. Justice that will ensure every man what is due him, be reward or punishment, from the author and scholar Noam Powell's book, An Oriental View of American Civilization. We are gathered here in Washington, D.C. today to remember our ancestors.
Yes, we are.
Those who paid the price, those who paved the way for us. We would not be here today if it wasn't for our ancestors.
Yes, sir.
Did you think that you did all of this by yourself?
Come on now.
No, you didn't. Someone paid the price.
Yes, sir.
Someone sacrificed for us. At least we can stand up and strike a blow for justice.
Yes, sir. Come on now.
At least we can do that. Our ancestors, if they could look from beyond the grave, they would be proud of us who are here today.
Yes, sir.
Honoring them.
Yes, sir.
Honoring their memory.
Yes, sir, Brother Minister.
And they would be very sad at the rest of our people who have not taken time, set aside a day to honor them. As my brother was saying, and as the president was saying about the Jewish people, it would be filled up. But because we don't love self,
That's a very good point.
we don't love self, we walk around like we love self, but it's self-evident that we just don't love self.
Yes, sir.
Quit lying to yourself. You don't love yourself. We then march on Washington for this day. We just said, be and it is.
Yes, I did, sir.
We didn't ask for former President Barack Obama to endorse it. We said, be and it is. That's why we're gathered here today. And I thank everyone that's here today. America has tied our identity to her for over 400 years, forcing us to be called by her name. To be free, to be who you are, is to know who you are.
Come on now.
And we have not been free. How can we say that we are free when we mimic America's culture? Dr. Asa Hilliard said true freedom. Now listen at this. He said true freedom is to be shackled to your identity.
Wow.
I don't think you heard me. True freedom is to be shackled by your identity. Wouldn't you agree that you have been shackled with the name slave.
Yes, sir.
You have been shackled with the name Negro.
Yes, sir.
You have been shackled with the name colored.
Yes, sir.
And you have been shackled with African American.
Yes, sir.
Am I right or wrong?
Right, sir. 100%.
We charge America with destruction of identity.
Yes, sir. Speak on it.
Slave, Negro, colored, black, African American is now history. Afrodescendant is our new political identity recognized by the United Nations.
Yes, sir.
Now, the science behind the flyer, the Black Holocaust flyer, one of our ancestors, a tribesman, is standing watching as his family, people from his tribe, are being taken away, taken to the Western Hemisphere to be enslaved. Just take a look at him now. He got the net in his hand. He has a spear, and he's looking at those ships with his people. Being taken into a life of bondage, never to return again. Next, the Freedom Memorial Statue of Abraham Lincoln, holding a copy of the Emancipation Proclamation, freeing a fugitive slave named Archer Alexander, the last fugitive slave captured in the state of Missouri. And by the way, Archer Alexander is a relative of Muhammad Ali.
That's right, man. Teach them.
You have the Capitol that represent the government that's responsible for destroying our identity.
Yes, sir.
They think that we're asleep, that we can't hear, that we don't love ourselves. I'm talking about those who are awake now.
Yes, sir. Speak on it.
Those who are awake. George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, and 10 of the U.S. presidents owned slaves at some point while they were in political office. And of course, the infamous Thomas Jefferson, who fathered 6 children by young Sally Hemings. And oh yes, I have a lecture for today. I'm just taxing down the runway.
Yes, sir.
I'm just taxing down the runway. I have a message for you. Oh, America, aren't your historians, scholars, and people taught to receive Abraham Lincoln as the great emancipator?
Teach.
Isn't he your great liberator who's responsible for saving the Union? But Lincoln, his objective was to save the Union.
Speak on it.
If he had to free some slaves and keep slaves in bondage, He wanted to save the Union at all costs.
Yes, you did,
Come on
sir.
now.
I'm going to show you that Lincoln didn't love you,
Come on now.
but he's not known for his speech, The Nigger and Crocodile, Rattlesnake of Slavery, delivered in 1860. Have you ever heard of that speech before?
Speak on it.
Were you ever taught about this speech?
No, sir.
You've heard other speeches by Lincoln, right?
Yes, sir.
A House Divided, the Gettysburg Address. But I have a book here, a book called The Face of Lincoln. And in this book is the speech, The Nigger, the Crocodile, and Rattlesnake of Slavery. Why don't we know anything about this? Why? Why did they hide this from us?
Come on now.
They hid it from us because they was trying to protect the legacy of Abraham Lincoln. I want to read a paragraph from that speech, and I'm going to show you how this Caucasian, how he's hidden the truth from us, how they tried to protect Lincoln's image from the speech, The Nigger, Crocodile, Rattlesnake of Slavery. The proposition that there is a struggle between the white man and the Negro contains a falsehood. There is no struggle between them. It assumes that unless the white man enslaves the Negro will enslave the white man. In that case, I think I will go for enslaving the black man in preference to being enslaved myself. Now that's what Abraham Lincoln said. As the learned judge of a certain court is said to have decided when a ship is wrecked at sea and two men seized upon one plank which is capable of sustaining but one of them, either of them can be rightfully pushed the other off. There is, however, no such controversy here. In my hand, I have this book, Lincoln on Democracy. Now, in this book, what I just read you from the original speech, The Nigger, the Crocodile, Rattlesnake of Slavery, they left this line out. And this book was published by Mario Cuomo and Harold Holzer. The line that they left out is, they say that between the nigger and the crocodile, they go for the nigger. I never heard of this speech. I went into a bookstore and I asked this white woman, I said, is this all the books that you have for African Americans? That was years ago. She said that, come with me.
She took me and my brother downstairs and opened up a vault full of books. And I found this book. And this book was owned by the president of the Union National Bank at one time. And you'll be surprised at what white folk hide from you.
Yes, sir.
I never heard any of our historians or scholars ever mention this speech.
No. That's right.
See, the devil hides the truth from you.
That's right. That's right.
But we're going to expose him and charge him today.
Yes, sir.
Don't you think that he needs to be charged?
All me. Come on.
Don't he need to be charged?
Yes, sir.
I've been thinking about this day, and I've been thinking about you. And I've been thinking about all the injustice that this white man has heaped upon us, including his presidents.
Come on now. Oh.
You see, our people have not touched the pain. If they really studied our history, they would be standing with us today.
Speak on it, sir.
But they have not touched the pain. Have you ever studied your history, read your history about how this white man, how this government mistreated our people? I have read the history of the atrocities to the extent that I laid my head down on my desk and cried. If you haven't cried over the condition or what has happened to your people, you might want to question yourself if you're talking about saving your people.
Speak on it.
If you don't have undying love for your people, you better think about it. Because there's a lot of history that has been hidden from us.
Yes, sir.
Our people were treated so badly. Can you imagine a man giving his daughter 700 slaves as a wedding gift?
Come on now. Listen.
See, you don't know about that. Let me share a secret with you. Those rare books, not the ones that you can find on Amazon. I ain't talking about that. I'm talking about the rare books.
Yes, sir.
You can find those books in the white used bookstores.
That's right.
That's where you find those books. And when you read the history of your people, you're going to want to stand up and strike a blow for justice.
Yes, sir. That's right. That's right.
You will not allow Joe Biden to diss you. You wouldn't allow him to just say that I will offer African countries $55 billion. And here you are, descendants of slaves. Where is your voice? Where's our voice at? We got to speak with one voice.
Yes, we do, sir.
How are you going to get respect if you don't respect yourself? You got to stand up.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I know that the black man, I know him, I know he'll kill concrete.
That's right.
But he won't strike a blow for justice.
Think about that. Yes, sir.
They will fight each other, they will kill each other, and give the white man a ghetto pass.
Come on now.
in the process. I hope I'm not losing you.
No, you're telling the truth.
I hear you, brother. But here Mr. Charlie is. Not gonna say nothing to him, but you'll kill your brother. You'll bring pain to his mother, and you gonna bring pain to your mother because you're going to prison for life.
Come on now. Yes, sir.
But you give this government, you give this white man a ghetto pass. Am I communicating with you?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Legalized slavery as an institution. America exploited our ancestors for 310 years. America benefited from free labor. America nurtured it, supported it, and destroyed our collective identity. We walk around and don't have a clue. America, you cannot hide what you have done. Here's proof. In 1810, the enslaved population of the United States produced 93 million pounds of cotton. I'm talking about our ancestors produced 93 million pounds of cotton. Most of 84 million pounds of tobacco. Slave ships named Jesus,
Come on now.
John the Baptist, and the black joke, transported our ancestors in chains through the Middle Passage. As I was reading an account from this book, The American Slave Trade, I started crying. I know that you probably don't cry. You probably can't feel the pain. You probably read it and just go on about your business. Not understanding that those were our ancestors.
Yes, sir.
Listen at this. Men, women, and children were seen in great numbers, struggling in the water by everyone on board of the two tenders, boats, and dreadful to relate, upward of 150 of these wretched creatures perished this way. Captain Ramsey, the captain of the ship, said afterward, he and his men distinctly saw the sharks tearing the Negroes as they struggled in the water. Think about that. Think about this Caucasian throwing our people overboard. Men, women, and children. Kidnapped from their homeland. Many of them terrorized, coming across the Atlantic. And they want us to understand terrorism. They want us to understand 911. Don't you think that our ancestors know about terrorism?
Yes, sir.
Do you understand how many of our people that was brought from Africa, that died coming from Africa?
We have a record here by a historian and scholar, Professor Dwight Dumont. He stated in his book, Anti-Slavery, The Crusade for Freedom in America, a total of 10 million were carried out. 100 million died. Did you hear that?
Yes, sir.
100 million died. America, you purposely destroyed our language. America, you purposely destroyed our culture. And you, America, purposely destroyed our identity. In 200 years, you destroyed the African within us.
Mm-hmm.
You don't walk like no African. You don't talk like no African. And you don't look like an African. America, we are the living evidence of the destruction of our identity. We are the people, we are the children, descendants of plantation slavery. No, not just 49.6 million of us in America. Oh no, we are 250 million slave descendants in 19 countries in the Western Hemisphere without inherent human rights. Afrodescendants, we have the legal right to self-determination.
Yes, sir. That's right.
And to control our own destiny. Like any other civilized nation and people. We got to find our way out of this situation.
Yes, sir.
We cannot continue to subject our children and our babies.
Right.
You saw what happened in Kansas, right?
Yes, sir.
About the 16-year-old.
Speak on it. Yes, sir.
It keeps happening. They keep on happening. There's going to be another shooting after that, and another shooting, and another shooting, and another shooting. Why is it going to continue? It's because their nature is different. You don't want to hear that, but that's the truth.
That's right.
How else can you explain it?
Speak on it.
How else can you explain throwing 150 people off of a ship to the sharks? How else can you explain them working our ancestors from can't see in the morning to can't see at night? Free labor. According to one economist, it will take 581 years before there would be economic parity between black and white. Now you tell me how you're going to catch up. 581 years. That's longer than our ancestors were in slavery. Black man, you got to stand up.
Yes, sir. That's right.
Because the black woman is going to be looking at you with one eye open and one closed.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
What you going to do? If you want some respect, stand up for your children.
Yes, sir.
Stand up for
That's
your family.
That's right.
Strike a blow for justice.
Yes, sir. That's right, Chief.
America, you are in violation of Article 27 of the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights, the United Nations Instrument of Protection for Minorities. The covenant says every
everyone is entitled to speak their own language, practice their own religion, and enjoy their own culture in the company of members of their own community with other members of their group. Afrodescendants, we are not free to speak our mother tongue because we do not know it, and unlike people from Mexico in America that speak Spanish and enjoy Mexican culture, food and religion in community with members of their group, we cannot. Why do we not know it? Because America took it away.
Yes, it did, sir.
America, your human rights violation of us and our ancestors is a fact. You cannot dispute that. 49.6 million Afro-descendants in America that cannot speak their mother tongue. Who's responsible for that? Oh, let me do it this way. Maybe you'll understand it. Imagine that there are 5 ethnic groups in the community. And Afro-descendant children, our children, is a part of the community. School has started for the parents of the other ethnic group. Go out and buy school clothes and buy their children sneakers. Buy them Jordans and Nikes. And the Afro-descendant parents cannot afford Nikes and Jordans. What would it look like if our children were barefooted on the bus with these other ethnic groups, these children? How do you think that those other children would look at our children with no shoes on, no sneakers on? Well, because we can't speak our language, well, these other ethnic groups is looking at us differently. We just can't do it if we wanted to. And language is very important. Very important. 250 million Afro-descendants are the results of forced mixed breeding and rape. America, we are here to take you to task in the court of public opinion. Language. We walk around, we never think about how important language is. If you don't know how important language is, ask one of your co-workers who may speak Spanish. Just stop, just ask them, and when you ask them, don't continue to keep talking, listen. And they will tell you how important language is. America, you deliberately removed our language from us.
Yes, sir.
Having full and complete knowledge that language ties a person to their identity.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Now, what did the experts say? I'm talking about the experts at the UN now. The The UN experts are well aware that language is the way a people preserve their religion and culture. Therefore, language, the mother tongue, is the essence of a people and the key factor in retaining identity. When there is destruction of mother tongue, and this act is coupled with forced mixed breeding, the language and original identity can never be restored. Therefore, the wrong is ongoing.
Yes, sir.
The Honorable Silas Muhammad knew if law has been violated, there is no remedy available. Reparations are due.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
This is the legal foundation under international law. America, we made you the wealthiest nation on the face of the earth. And our reward was to be stripped of all humanity. Did you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Abolitionist attorney John Davenier said, laws that allow us to diminish the humanity of anyone are not laws, they are framework for crime.
We got it.
America and European government as allies took our ancestors' humanity.
Yes, they did.
We charge you, America, and we charge you, Portugal, and we charge you, Spain, and we charge you, France,
Yes, sir.
and we charge you, Germany, and we charge you, Great Britain. And lest we forget, we charge the Netherlands
Yes, sir.
with the lingering effects of plantation slavery.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah.
Can we see the next video?
We already know that this is a gene that contributes to risk for depression and post-traumatic stress disorder. When we looked at their own children also had an epigenetic change in the same spot on the stress-related gene.
We're talking about multiple traumas for hundreds of years. Not only are you traumatized directly, you're seeing your friends, your cousins, and everyone in your environment being beaten, sold away from family, raped, mutilated, all those things that were happening, and eventually, of course, lynched. But looking at those traumas, is it plausible that those people escaped stress-related illness? Not plausible.
Politically speaking, the United Nations defines a people according to three elements:
Come on, Chief. Yes, sir.
their mother tongue or language intact. Number two, they have their ancestral culture that was defined by their ancestors centuries ago.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Number three, they have their ancestral religion determined by their elders of centuries past. It's obvious that all of these elements have been lost.
Yes, sir.
Forever.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
By those who were stolen from our homeland and forced into slavery. The charge of destruction of identity is upon you, America.
Yes, it is, sir. Yes, sir.
And your government.
That's right. Yes, sir.
We mimicked your culture, customs, and religion far too long. Determined we are to control our own destiny.
Yes, sir. That's right.
We do not belong to you anymore. And as Afrodescendants, we have the legal right to self-determination.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
We have that right.
Yes,
it's
sir.
legal.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's right.
To the world, we say what the most honorable Elijah Muhammad said on his September the 10th, 1972, Theology of Time series. I want you to listen now. Listen closely to little Elijah. The enemy has just about destroyed us and taken away our identity. Who is the enemy? Little Elijah didn't bite his tongue.
No, he did.
He said the enemy. And anyone destroy your humanity is the enemy.
Yes, sir. Go on now. Speak on.
Now you might want to tiptoe through the tulips and be politically correct about it. But the honorable Elijah Muhammad said the enemy.
Yes, he did, sir.
Well, I guess it speaks for itself. You know who it is.
Yes, sir. No doubt. No doubt.
People of African descent. The Honorable Silas Muhammad explains people of African descent in this manner. There is a vast difference between Afrodescendants and people of African descent.
Yes.
While we enjoy the same comely color, we both view ourselves as being different. People of African descent still have their original identity, their mother tongue, culture, and religion, while Afro-descendants mimic the mother tongue, culture, and religion of our slave masters' children.
Yes, that's real. It's real.
Is that true?
That's true. Yes, sir.
Is that true or false?
That's true. Definitely.
Every ethnic group in America has their own culture, language, and identity except 49.6 million so-called African Americans.
That's right.
The acts of forced mixed breeding and interracial marriage have changed our African identity forever.
Right.
Forever. Now I want you to listen to this next statement. I want you to listen closely. Afro-descendants, can you identify 100% with one of the 54 governments in Africa? Which of the 54 flags in Africa are yours? Which tribe is yours? Which of the estimated 2,000 languages spoken on the continent do you speak? Is your DNA 100% African? I want you to think about that now. Just think about that. George Orwell, author of the book 1984, said, the most effective way to destroy people is to deny and obliterate their understanding of their history. America swallowed us up, denying our human rights. Look at all of this damage. And I'm not finished. The late Dr. Runoko Rashidi, as a lecturer and presenter, historian, author, anthropologist, scholar, traveler, and researcher, visited 124 countries. Before joining the ancestors. August 2nd, 2021 in Egypt. Speaking in 67 countries. And before he passed away, he left a message for 49.6 million Afrodescendants.
Yes, sir.
He said, history is a people's memory. Never minimize this. For when you lose your memory, you lose your identity.
Yes, sir.
And when you lose your identity, you are lost.
Listen to that. Yes, sir.
That's why that man had to come from the east.
Yes, sir. Come on.
In many ways, those of us brutally taken from our motherland have lost history, memory, and identity.
Come on.
And we suffer from this today, whether we realize it or not. That was a message from Dr. Runoko Rashidi. And he's bearing witness to Mr. Muhammad's message.
Yes, sir.
Am I right or wrong?
That's right. Yes, sir. Definitely. Come on.
Because we really don't understand. So let me define obliterate for you.
Speak about it.
Obliterate means to remove utterly from recognition or memory. Remove from existence, destroy utterly all trace, indication, or significance.
Wow.
And before it's over with, I'm going to well, I better hold off and just wait till we get to it. I don't want to let it out right now. Slavery wiped away our culture, language, and identity, and collective memory of who we were in Africa. It destroyed our inherent human rights. We can never be what we once were. We can't. And someone is responsible for that.
That's right.
And whoever caused that damage needs to be brought to justice.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's right.
Come on. Are you African or American? Or you neither? Afrodescendants are victims of the worst Holocaust to ever befall a people.
I bear witness.
in human
I
history.
bear witness. Yes, sir.
We are the people. We are special people. We should be placed in a special category
Yes,
Yes, sir.
That's right.
from all the other ethnic groups in America, right?
Yes, sir. That's right.
Because their experience in America is totally different from ours, right? The Mexicans didn't produce 93 million pounds of cotton, almost 84 million pounds of tobacco. Ethnocide. For us was the transformation of identity from African to slave to Negro to colored to black, African American. It ended with our new political identity, Afrodescendants. Without ethnocide, we would be in possession of our inherent human rights.
Yes, sir.
Like every other ethnic group in America.
Yes, sir.
But America, you treated us differently. You did, and you know you did.
Yes, sir.
And you never will be able to erase this stain. No, you can't do it. You can't change the history books because you don't want your little children to be offended.
Yes, sir. Speak on it. Yes, sir.
You don't put our true history in those books.
That's right.
You don't want your little Billy to come home and tell you, Mom, I didn't know Abdul's ancestors built the pyramids.
Come on now.
No, they don't want that.
That's right. DC. Speak on it. Sir.
They don't want that. They don't want that.
No, they don't, Chief.
Witness the difficulty of a slave speaking the King's English. Mecca. Is Mecca here?
Yes, sir.
I need you here to read this for me because I was having a hard time with this language. I was having a hard time with this language.
My master owned 3 plantations and 300 slaves. He started out with 2 woman slaves and raised 300 slaves. One was called Short Peggy, and the other was called Long Peggy. Long Peggy, a black woman, had 25 children. Long Peggy was boss over the plantation. Master freed her after she had 25 children. Just think over that, raising 300 slaves with 2 women.
Wow.
It sure is the truth, though.
Wow.
From Bullwhip Days, The Slaves Remembered, page 148, edited by James Mellon.
Wow. Wow. That's crazy.
I want you to listen carefully to this. Somebody got to pay for
Yes,
this.
sir. Speak on it. Yes, sir.
Somebody got to
Somebody got to
pay.
pay, sir.
All of these tough brothers in the hood.
Yes, sir.
When are you going to unite? When are you going to unite behind a movement that is seeking justice for the wrongs that was done to your ancestors? every last one of us represent our family.
Yes, sir.
And every family, every one of us, every family, know for surety that your ancestor suffered.
Yes, sir.
It's only befitting and proper that you stand up for your ancestors and your family.
Yes, sir. Speak on it.
You say, well, I don't know them. Well, you know your grandmother, don't you?
Yes, sir.
You know your great-grandmother, don't you? Some of you.
Come on now. That's right. She lived on the plantation. Yes, sir. Speak on
I
it.
had an opportunity to speak with my grandmother, who looked like a white woman, who was a product of a rape, born in 1890. And she shared with my brother the last lynching in Little Rock, Arkansas, 1927. I'm not going to go into that, but I just want you to know that.
Yes, sir.
I have pictures of her, product of a rape.
Speak on it.
Listen to this. Drunken masters had little regard for their slaves. The most sensational example of which is a Kentucky man who dismembered his slave and threw him piece by piece in the fire in front of the other slaves.
Come on now.
And that was that old bastard in Mississippi. He dragged from the bed a slave whom he suspected of theft and inflicted more than 1,000 lashes. Who gonna pay for that? Somebody's responsible, right?
Yes, sir.
You've heard of Whip Peter, right?
Yes, sir.
The value of name. Our ancestors were forced under the threat of death to wear the slave master's name, right?
Yes, sir.
Remember Kunta Kinte?
Yes, sir.
Forced to accept the name Toby? Why didn't Alex Haley reclaim his family name, Kinte? He didn't do it. He held on to that slave name, Haley.
Good point, sir.
After truth had come to him, he still held on to that slave name.
Speak on it.
Why do you want to hold on to a slave name? Wearing the slave master's children's name is proof of destruction of our identity.
Yes, sir.
Remember the teacher's roll call before class? Did you answer with an African name?
Sure.
Our African ancestors' last name were not Anderson, Barkley, Brown, Combs, Daniels, Davis, Harrington, Higgins, Jackson, Johnson, King, Madison, Martin, O'Neill, Rock, Smith, Taylor, or Williams. Was it?
No, sir.
Were the slave masters children, molesters, deceivers, and enslavers. Were the slave masters exploiters, liars, and quick to lynch and murder our ancestors? Were the slave masters psychopaths, rapists, robbers, thieves, and human rights violators?
Still are. Speak on it.
Now, if you don't believe me, pick up the book, 100 Years of Lynching. America, this is your record of what you have done. It's yours. You own it. 100 years of lynching. Do I have the right to tell you the truth?
Come on now. Come on. Yes, sir. Undoubtedly.
Is it true to say keeping the slave master's children's name, keeping their legacy alive?
Speak on it.
Think about that now. Slave master's children. We have to stop. We have to pump the brakes to say, wait a minute. Wait just a minute. I don't want to name my child after psychopath.
That's right. Come on now.
Do you hear me?
It's deep. Come on now.
After murderer.
Come on.
After a robber. After a forced mixed breeder. No. You got to change that name.
Generational curse.
You just got to change it.
Come on.
Because a good name is better than gold. Because when you change that name, there's a feeling that comes over you. There's a feeling of independence. Once you change the name, I don't belong to you anymore. There's a feeling, and you can't be afraid to change it. Ain't nothing gonna happen.
That's right. That's right, Chief. Nothing gonna happen.
You don't have to be afraid.
No, sir.
You don't have to be. You're probably saying, well, you don't tell me what to do. You can't tell me. Well, let me share a little something with you. Or before I get to that point, let me deal with this. Our fight is not with the American people, but with the American government.
That's right. Yes, sir.
We're not going to waste our time debating white folk. The hell with you. It's the government.
That's right.
Don't waste your time debating with white people.
That's right.
Leave them alone, and our focus should be on the government,
Yes, sir.
on America.
Yes, sir. That's right. That's right.
Leave the white people alone on Twitter and Facebook debate.
That's right.
We need to speak with one voice,
Yes, sir.
with one voice only. Afrodescendants. Truth is the greatest weapon in the heavens and earth. Isn't it time for us to unify? Isn't it time for us to organize as one people around our new political identity and speak with one voice? America's government destroyed our ancestors' identity. Did she not?
Oh, yes, sir. That's right.
Is this the truth?
It's the truth, sir.
The whole truth.
Yes, sir.
And nothing but the truth.
Yes, sir.
Let me ask you, if a Jewish mother or father would name their son Adolf.
Come on now.
Don't laugh now.
No, talk about it.
You know
Come on.
they would not.
No, sir.
Am I right or wrong?
No, you're right, sir. Don't let the last name be Hitler. Come on now. Come on now.
A Jewish,
That's a good point.
Jewish family would not name their son Adolf.
Come on. They got standards. Come on now.
If we look at those parents and say, no, don't name your child after Adolf. Well, what about us?
Teach. Very good point, sir.
What about us? You don't have to be fearful.
That's right.
You're not going to be put in jail if you change your name, brother.
That's right.
They afraid of the fight behind the name change. Come on.
A good name is better than gold. Afrodescendants. We were not taught our sitting together at the conference table gives us the power to bring America to justice for destruction of identity. Now we shall present historians and scholars that recorded the destruction of our identity at the hands of the American government. We're going to allow your scholars to indict you,
That's right.
America, for what you did. First up is Dr. Charles Silverman from Crisis in Black and White, page 77. The American Negro has been subject to a system designed to destroy ambition,
That's right. Wow.
prevent independence, and erode intelligence for the past 3.5 centuries. Hence, nothing could be more foolish or damaging to the Negro cause than refuse to face the harsh reality of what 350 years of white oppression has done to the Negro personality and behavior. Second, we have Dr. J. Branowski, The Identity of Man, page 97, where he states, when you destroy a people's culture, you obliterate that which binds them together. You heard the term, oh, black people can't stand, they're not coming together, they can't stick together. Well, once the culture is obliterated, well, how can we stick together? Culture binds its members together to a common identity.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Third, Dr. Silverman, again from Crisis in Black and White, page 185, where he speaks about destruction of one's identity during plantation slavery. For one thing, the process of enslavement subjected the African to a series of traumas that tended to sever him from his culture and institution and destroyed his sense of identity. Fourth is historian and scholar Robert Penn, stating from his book on page 54, Who Will Speak for the Negro? The system in North America however, worked more or less to unman the slave and rob him of any sense of identity. Do you hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I'm telling you, I pointed to you who's responsible.
That's it.
Next is a renowned Jewish scholar and historian, Frank Tenenbaum, from Slave and Citizens, page 41, where he states the Negro is a judge or magistrate on the city bench in New York, a member of Congress. He is a senator and a member of the cabinet in other places. He is part of the nation. He's active, vocal, and self-assertive, and a living force. He has become culturally a European.
Come on now.
Or, if you will, an American, a white man with a black face. We're talking about destruction of identity now.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Again, from Crisis in Black and White, page 73, another reference by Dr. Charles Zimmerman, who restates what historian Kenneth Stamps said. Negroes are, after all, only white men with black skin. Nothing more, nothing less.
Speak.
Do you hear me? We are talking about destruction of identity.
Yes, sir. Somebody got to pay.
Somebody got to pay for this.
Yes, sir.
Somebody got to pay.
Yes, sir.
Don't tell me that you're a gangster.
Come on now.
You got to do something about this.
Yes, sir.
You can't call yourself an OG. You got to do something about this.
Yes, sir. Come on. Yes, sir. Come on.
Up next, we have Swiss philosopher Henrik Frederick Emil from Journal 17 June 1852.
Come on now.
Who said the test of every religious, political, or educational system is the man which it forms. If a system injures the intelligence, it is bad. If it injures the character, it is vicious. If it injures the conscience, it is criminal. Now, let's get to this new identity.
Let's talk about it.
This new identity. Two historians and scholars, political scientists, one of them, agree with the Honorable Silas Muhammad. Say what? Yes, they agree with him.
Yes, sir.
And the other 18 leaders that represent the 250 million Afro-descendants in the Western Hemisphere. Just follow me now.
Yes, sir.
Take a moment and listen to these words. From the political scientist, Andrew Hacker, author of the book, Two Nations, Black and White, Separate, Hostile, and Unequal. Listen to what the political scientists had to say. Your decisions are rendered all the more painful by the hypocrisy of its all. Since you are aware that even if you make every effort to conform, whites still will not accept you as one of their own. So to a far greater degree, for immigrants from other lands, it rests upon you to create your own identity.
Yes, sir.
Do you hear me?
Yes, sir. Loud and clear.
Back once again to Dr. Silverman in his classic Crisis in Black and White, page 166. Now listen to this. Negroes are both more than an ethnic group and less. Though their color makes them far more identifiable than any ethnic group, they lack the common history and cultural traditions which the other groups share. The Negro's central problem is to discover his identity or create his identity for himself.
Wow, listen to that.
Do you hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
The next video confirms what Dr. Silverman's statement about a need to create our own identity. Next video, please. I want you to listen to these two women.
I remember when we became African Americans because I worked in the black marketing department at Coca-Cola when we were selling Coke to our people. And the vice president came in and said, okay, we are now African Americans. We were like, alrighty, African. I heard this white woman was sitting next to me and she said to another white woman, they don't know who they are.
Big order.
Wow, that's what I said. And I'm gonna take my wig off and I'll be honest, I did not know what to say to her. I didn't know what to say to her.
But in a way, it's kind of true, though.
That's why I didn't know what to say.
Yeah.
But African American seems to be sticking now.
Instead, we should just be human. How about that?
Wow.
Did you hear that?
Yes, sir. Come on now.
Destruction of identity. We don't know who we are. But the Honorable Silas Muhammad said we must create our own identity.
That's right, sir. That's right.
Is that right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
In 2002, in La Ceiba, Honduras, at a United Nations sponsored forum, 19 leaders met representing 250 million descendants of slaves in the Western Hemisphere, agreeing upon our new political identity as Afrodescendants, written and defined by the Honorable Silas Muhammad. Now, what do you think about that?
I wish I would have known sooner, sir. Yes.
I want to know, after I read the definition of the term Afrodescendants, I want you to look to the person next to you and ask them, do they agree with this definition? The term Afrodescendants refer to a people who were forcibly dispossessed of their homeland, Africa, were transported to the Americas and slavery diaspora for the purpose of enslavement, were subjected to slavery, were subjected to forced mixed breeding and rape, have experienced through force the loss of mother tongue, culture, and religion, have experienced racial discrimination due to laws, ties, from their original identity. Doesn't that sound like us? Doesn't that fit us? No, we can't stick our head in the sand. That's us. Is everybody all right?
Yes, sir.
Failure to find justice. 100 years after slavery. 100 years after slavery was abolished, President Lyndon Baines Johnson gave a commencement speech at Howard University in 1965, titled "To Fulfill These Rights." President Johnson said, "Freedom is the right to share fully and equally in American society. It is the right to be treated in every part of our national life as a person equal in dignity and promise to all others." Let me pause and I want you to take a look at this video from President Lyndon Baines Johnson. He's talking about justice.
At Howard.
For what is justice? It is to fulfill the fair expectations of man. Thus, American justice is a very special thing. Far from the first, this has been a land of towering expectations. It was to be a nation where each man could be ruled by the common consent of all, enshrined in law, given life by institutions, guided by men themselves, subject to its rule. And all of every station and origin would be touched equally in obligation and in liberty. Beyond the law lay the land. It was a rich land, glowing with more abundant promise than man had ever seen. Here, unlike any place yet known, all were to share the harvest. And beyond this was the dignity of man. Each could become whatever his qualities of mind and spirit would permit. To strive, to seek, and if he could, to find his happiness. This is American justice. We have pursued it faithfully to the edge of our imperfections. And we have failed to find it for the American Negro.
Wow.
So it is.
Did you hear that?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Our sitting president. President Johnson said, "We failed to find justice for the American Negro." What are you going to do? How do you feel to hear justice was found for Native American Indians? How do you feel to know justice was found for the Japanese Americans, wrongly put in concentration camps? They received reparations. What about us? Are there any moral-minded people in Congress? What about us? We don't mean nothing. They can't find nothing for us. They can't find justice for us.
Sir, you said it.
That means that we must demand justice.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, yes, sir.
That means that we don't go to the robber asking for justice.
That's right.
That's like Frank James robbed me and I go to Frank James's brother, who's a robber, murderer, and a thief, asking for justice, trying to get my money back. No, it's not going to happen.
No, sir.
We have to go to an independent arbitrator.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Is
sir.
that right?
That's right.
We can't go to him.
No,
We can't go to the government. It would just be unintelligent.
Yes, sir, Chief. Yes, sir.
She got to be brought to justice. She tried everybody else.
Yes, sir. That's right.
She gave my brother 100 years.
Come on now.
Do you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Speak on.
They are no better than my brother. But my brother's out now, been out. But I'm telling you, we can't let him off the hook.
No, no, sir.
No, we're not going to forgive you. Not you, America.
No, sir.
That's not happening.
That's right.
Current American President Joe Biden, on December 15th, 2022, offered an apology to African leaders at an African summit meeting here in Washington, D.C. for enslaving our ancestors. Again, we asked the question, where are the moral-minded white people in Congress? Where are our reparations?
Come on now.
Do we not deserve justice?
Yes, sir. That's right.
After we built the greatest country on the planet, don't we deserve something?
Yes, sir, Chief.
I'm almost finished.
Keep going. Yes, sir.
For the 49.6 million Afro-descendants in America, the American government pledging $55 billion in reparations to Africa over a 3-year period is nothing more than an abrasive political slap in the face. And it is total disrespect to our ancestors who were enslaved for 310 years.
Yes, sir. That's right. That's right.
To the American government, you did not have the right to take my ancestors and reduce them to property, human property. What audacity you had to label a human being runaway property. Where do you get this in your mind to call my ancestors a sophisticated pet? Unjust legislation like the Fugitive Slave Act, criminalizing them for running away from the slave plantation to save their very life from sheer death. This is your record, America. Your record. You can't hide it. You can't deceive us. We're wide awake now.
Yes, we are. That's right.
We're wide awake.
Yes, sir. We're going to tell it.
You cannot put the genie back in the bottle.
No, sir.
You can't do that.
No, sir.
This is our day. This is our time.
Yes, it is, sir. Yes, sir.
It is time for us to unite.
Yes, sir.
I'm almost finished. President Biden must be confused or discombobulated or something.
Already. Already.
America. How wicked was legalized slavery that took our ancestors' culture, language, and identity. We Afro-descendants are entitled to full and complete reparations. Now I want to talk about the drum major for justice. And we want to know his position, or I want to share with you his position on human rights. Because we know that before Dr. King, was assassinated. We know that he went up to Mount Elijah.
Come on now. That's right.
That's if you can hear me.
Yes, sir. Come on now.
Dr. Martin Luther King, the late civil rights leader, was on board with the fight for reparations. Here's what he had to say about also human rights. Listen to him closely. I have about 7 or 8 of Dr. King's writings, his books. And this is what I was able to extract. Now we are approaching the areas where the voice of the Constitution is not clear. We have left the realm of the constitutional rights. We are entering the area of human rights.
Yes, sir. That's right. Yes, sir.
And I also want to remind you that Dr. King said that there are 3 types of minds out here. There's the tough mind, the soft mind, and the tender mind. He said that the tough mind, and I'm paraphrasing him, the tough mind can distinguish the lie from the truth.
Yes, sir.
Or the truth from the lie. And he said that the tender mind just repeat whatever it hears. And the soft mind is spooky.
Yes, sir.
You want that tough mind, right?
Indeed, sir.
That tough mind.
Yes, sir.
You ask yourself, what category are you in?
That's right.
Tough mind,
Yes, sir.
tender mind, or soft mind? I'm almost finished. America, this is your record.
She got to pay. That's right.
America, your record has spoken. President Biden, the African leaders you pledged $55 billion to are in possession of their human rights. We Afrodescendants are entitled to full and complete reparations. Eric Smith, Reverend Eric Smith, president of the New Haven, Connecticut Reparations Council. I think he said it best. He said in the 19th century, the struggle was for freedom. In the 20th century, the struggle was for civil rights. And now in the 21st century, the struggle is for reparations.
Yes, sir.
Self-determination.
Yes, right.
Can you show the next video? I want you to take a look at this. Take a look at it. Now I want to compare chattel slavery to the bombs dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Ethnocide cannot be dismissed. Slavery's lingering impact on us in its magnitude is no different than the long-term consequences suffered by the victims of the bombing on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. American slavery obliterated the slaves' memory, wiping away their names, their religion, their history, their cultures, their languages, their identities without leaving a trace.
Wow. That's profound.
Likewise, in the New York Times article, Study of the Atomic Bomb, Victim Stresses Long-Term Damage. In this article, August 6, 1981, by Herbert Midgang, similar effects on bomb-damaged victims of Nagasaki and Hiroshima are like the lingering effects of the victims of plantation slavery. The magnitude of the atomic bomb destruction cannot be dismissed as just another hazard or war, according to the study. It is genocide, sociocide, ecocide, biocide, and earthocide, a complete negation of human existence. Were our ancestors not negated as human beings in the institution of slavery?
Yes, sir.
Am I right or am I wrong?
Right. 100%. Keep going.
Chattel slavery was far-reaching, destroying every child's ancestral memory, and inflicting psychological trauma in each generation, thus removing their inherent human rights. Charges. Now, America, listen to these charges. America, you are in violation of Article 27 of the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights. Article 27 is the major human rights instrument offering protection to minorities in those states in which ethnic, religious, or linguistic minorities exist. Persons belonging to these minorities shall not be denied the right in community with the other members of their group to enjoy their own culture, to profess and practice their own religion, or to use. The Honorable Silas Muhammad argued that African Americans were forcibly deprived of their mother tongue.
Yes, sir.
And therefore are denied and deprived of its use. Mr. Muhammad stated that it would be impossible to implement a remedy for African Americans. Therefore, Article 27 cannot be enforced for their protection. How can America protect the right of Afrodescendants when she is responsible for denying and depriving us of those rights?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
The Honorable Silas Muhammad says, now is the time for us to see ourselves as a people separate from white America.
Yes, sir.
We have been inside of America for more than 400 years, living without human rights, our own language,
yes, sir,
culture, and religion.
Yes, sir.
Even though we have fought in America's wars,
yes, sir. Yes, we have,
and died in attacks on America, we never will be given freedom, justice, and equality with America's white citizens.
yes, sir.
We need to gain our human rights, including our rights to be restored with dignity.
Yes, sir. That's right.
Other peoples of the earth have these rights,
yes,
but we have been left out because America has hidden our existence.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Our identity from the world, by ever changing our names. Our names have changed from niggers to Negroes, colored, blacks, and African American. I'm almost finished. I'm about to land. We want justice. We want our human rights.
Yes, sir.
Says the Honorable Silas Muhammad. And I agree with him.
Yes, sir.
Does your heart and mind agree with him after hearing his words?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's right. Yes, sir.
Give him a round of applause.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
This commemoration of Black Holocaust Remembrance Day 2023 is a new beginning for us. We refuse to be renamed by anyone.
That's right.
The term people of color is another vain attempt to rename us.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's right.
No, we are Afrodescendants, not people of color.
That's right.
The Honorable Silas Muhammad has already done the legwork.
Yes, he did, sir.
For us, with over 30 trips to the United Nations, securing recognition as Afrodescendants.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
The shadows of the names imposed on us by the American government is removed with our new political identity of Afrodescendants.
Yes, sir. That's right. That's right. Yes, sir. That's what you said.
In order to sue, said the Honorable Silas Muhammad, you need a name. This we have achieved.
Yes, sir.
The name,
yes, sir,
Afrodescendants is recognized in the United Nations. This recognition includes 250 million Afrodescendants. The leader that represented America was the Honorable Silas Muhammad.
Yes, sir. That's right.
Now that we have a name recognized by the UN, we have standing to show.
Yes, sir.
Did you hear that?
Yes, sir.
Afro-descendants.
Yes, sir.
We have standing to sue.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Only thing that we need is your unity.
yes, sir.
Are you ready to unify?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Are
yes,
you
sir.
ready to
yes,
join
sir.
on with the Afro?
Yes, sir. All members. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
It is through the Afro-descendant nation
Yes.
that reparations will become a reality.
Yes, sir. That's right. That's right.
You can't go to the left, you can't go to the right, brother. You got to go straight
Yes,
through the
sir.
Afro-descendant.
That's right. Yes, sir. All praises be. Yes, sir.
PowerPoint. Oh, you already got it up there.
Yes, sir.
Self-identify as Afro-descendants after this truth has come to you. We want you to want a nation.
Yes, sir. That's right.
Thank you for joining us for Black Holocaust Remembrance Day 2023.
Yes, sir.
Assalamu alaikum.
Very good.
Yes, sir. You have been to class, haven't you? You've been in that class. That's a doctorate teaching there, brother.
Yes, sir.
Nobody gave you that type of teaching. Boy, I'm fired up. When you fired up, you ready for the Afrodescendant nation?
Let's go,
Yes, sir. You need to join on. I'm going to give you some information so you can join on.
Join on. That's right.
All right. We want you to join on. You can join on Twitter.
Yes, sir.
Muhammad Speaks News. You can go to ADY Global. That's on Twitter. On the back of the diagram that you got when you got here, you can donate.
Yes, sir.
Please donate. Help us help you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Please.
That's right.
We need your help. We need your support. We need you to join the Afro-Descendant Nation.
Yes, sir. That's right.
All right? With that, we say go in peace. Thank you for your support and continue. Mr. Muhammad says he wants a group picture before you leave. So please do not leave until he gets that group picture. Again, for those who are on the World Wide Web, there is also a way for you to donate as well. Please support the Afro-Descendant Nation. Thank you. Go in peace.
Yes, sir.
That's it.